All right, now we can introduce the players. In the red, bottom center, we have the guy that just proxy racks his Zerg opponent, Ganzi. And in center right, we have our Zerg player. He's going to have to focus and try to come back here. Nerves can be an issue in StarCraft 2. Violet.
All right, well.
Is this the same Violet from StarCraft 1? It just dawned on me. It's not. It's
That's
not,
a Protoss
right?
player.
Right.
He's actually the Violet from Warcraft 3.
Okay, okay.
Yeah, that's true, man.
Look at you, Artosis.
Ah, I'm the nerd encyclopedia.
Yeah, man, you're the nerd Wikipedia.
Yeah. Well, I would like to see in this match. Oh, look at this. He's actually sending that SCV out pretty darn early. What's he gonna do with this SCV?
Oh, you know what? I think he's gonna do like a double cheese.
You know what? Double cheese, a
double
quarter
cheese.
pounder.
Quarter pounder, man.
Oh,
No,
the drone
whoa.
passes it. If I'm a drone and I see an SCV out that early, I'm thinking there's going to be a proxy racks. But instead, he actually just made a racks immediately at home. Smart move there by Ganzi. Now that that has happened, you know what I would like to see here, Tasteless? I'd like to see the same he did against DRG, where he goes for the fast expansion into the Reactor Hellion into Banshee.
Well, you're not going to get to see that at all, Artosis, because you're going 2 barracks.
Darn. Well, that's pretty well hidden, kind of out of the way.
Yeah, kind of a little bizarre location. Now, let me check. Can we go to get a shot of the Overlord in upper, top, middle? What is the waypoint on that Overlord?
I can't tell because he doesn't have 2.
Oh, man. Okay.
He might be stopping in the middle there.
All right. Yeah, is he going to see the Overlord's going towards that barracks? Let's see.
Uh-oh.
Oh!
Nope. He turns around, Tasteless. Well.
There is no justice in this world, guys.
Well, there's plenty of justice for Ganzi right now. All right, well, we'll have to see what he can actually do with this. You know, it's not like 2 racks rushes are unholdable. But again, you know, Sheth was saying this, he might be affected. He might make the wrong decisions in the heat of the moment.
So the Marines are going to be rallied out now. Again, it's very hard for the Zerg to know exactly what's going on. And a lot of this just does come down to unit control.
Did he not see?
He saw it, but I don't think he was looking at the mini-map. I think he's distracted.
Yeah, always got to keep an eye on the mini-map. And if that's the case, well, then he's going to... I mean, if he ever goes back and looks at this replay or someone just tells him, like, dude, your drone saw my SCV, then, I mean, that's a heartbreaker.
Now, he is getting a spine crawler immediately.
Ah.
So I think he actually does now.
Yeah, I think you're right. And that's great. A blind spine crawler, I like this. And he even has 8 lings out. He's getting 2 queens, so he's going to be in good shape. And Ganji's actually waiting for a lot of Marines, which is actually going to throw Violet off even more. Because by now you should have seen this rush. You know, you should have seen it if it's 2 racks by now. So he might actually wait till so many. Uh-oh, uh-oh.
You see, he's getting isolated because he waited for so long. Now here come the SCVs. All right, he knows now.
6 more lings on the way for Violet. He does have that spine. Will he try to throw up another one? The Overlord sees the incoming Marines.
The Zerglings at the bottom are going down to try to counter attack and take out anything else, but he seals it tight.
Uh-oh, he just lifted up that spine crawler, and that could be a big mistake, Tasteless. We will see. And in fact, Ganzi starts to move forward, but it looks like Violet bought himself just enough time and got that up.
Wow, well, here's the problem, guys. He's got all these SCVs just in the middle of the map.
Yeah, time for them to go home. Now, I want to see how he's going to follow this up. You know, he could do something like go ahead and take and expand. He could just continue to make Marines and do like we saw before against DRG and go again. And I think that actually wouldn't be necessarily a bad idea because he's forced a lot of Zerglings out of Violet, which means, and the thing is, slow Zerglings, or even Zerglings with speed against constantly produced Marines, aren't going to do all that well.
Zerg now getting an extractor, make that 2 extractors. Note he's putting them in one in the main, one in the natural. So that's a little bit harder if you scan to tell what exactly is going on.
Ooh.
And he is actually, whoa.
Triple command.
Triple command, guys. And he's getting it, he's going to move that barracks that was up at the top, and he's going to have that come land next to the other barracks in his main.
Well, it's a good choice. You may as well bring that back now. No reason to have a barracks off across the map. So Ganzi looking really good. I mean, we don't really have anything going on for Violet right now. He's getting a macro hatch, sure, but his drones are behind the timings that he actually wants. And, I mean, if he doesn't actually get to scout that third command center, he's going to be in so much trouble.
All right, macro hatch now on the way. Artosis, where would you go? If you were the Zerg, what would you do from here?
Well, I think he needs to really get to scouting. He needs to figure out what is the follow-up here. And, I mean, he can't really tell. He hasn't scouted the command center at all. He hasn't scouted... Well, I guess his Overlord may have peeked in to see if there was a gas recently. Yeah, he did. Okay, so... He didn't see the gases, though.
Here's a weird thing as well, is that there's 3 spines at the front of the Zerg's base, excuse me. Ooh. So that tells me that he is actually very concerned about another attack, when that's just never in a million years going to happen this game.
Well, Ganzi is actually right now adding 2 barracks and getting 2 tech labs. So this tells us that I think he's actually going to go for one of those stim timings with Marauders and Marines. It's a very old timing that actually, oh, he does scout it. That's very nice. But the timing that I'm talking about, it's you hit them before mutas and before Baneling speed. And you can just use a couple Marauders, but mostly Marines, to actually just destroy them with good micro. So if that's what he's doing, I actually kind of like that.
All right, so we have 2 engineering bays coming down now.
Oh my God!
Now I think he's just going to do an all-in.
Dude,
22 Zerglings on the way.
That is a lot of Zerglings, and I mean he has a Baneling nest. That macro hatch is still on the way, taking another base behind this as well. So well, that means it's not all in, but he's decided that he can do a lot of damage here.
Uh-oh.
Oh my God, that's a lot of Banelings. 20 Banelings being morphed. Ganzi not going to have stim before this hits.
Now, note he does have some Marauders, which are great for tanking the Baneling hits, but still, I mean, all right, here we go.
Without stim, he can't control what the Banelings hit here. Well, they're mostly going to...
We're hitting the Marauders.
Yeah, but still, he's just going to plow through everything here.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think there's anything that he can do. I mean, the Banelings are going to come up here. They're going to take out the depot. And from there, these SCVs are in trouble. I believe that's just going to be GG, guys. There's just no way these Lings are going to be stopped.
These Lings dealing a huge amount of damage. And in fact, now he's killed 9-10 workers. Good job there. And in fact, behind this, he's making more Zerglings. But I think that's more of a safety precaution. You know, he's got the units down, and Ganzi very smartly lifting up that command center, realizing
he needs to get that out of there.
Yeah, he doesn't have the units to actually stop anything right now. Now, Stim is almost finished.
You know, it's funny, there's actually just so many workers that I guess he can actually just hold it on his own.
Yeah.
So the game will go on. Landing the command center. Making a nice little wall there.
Well, you know, I still... That was a really nice attack. We have 57 drones to 51 SCVs, but I'm still kind of liking what Ganji's up to. His 1-1's going to finish, but actually behind that, Violet did add a couple of evolution chambers. So his upgrades are not going to be too far behind.
All right, we have the drones being transferred now to the upper right. He's getting this armory because, of course, he does need to get attack and armor 2-2 here. Meanwhile, you know, the Zerg is also doing a great job of just being totally upgraded. It should go, you know, into the late game. And I have no idea. I mean, who do you think is going to win at this point in time, Artosis?
You know, it's hard to say, but, you know, Violet is playing a nice game here. Ganzi is going to have a hard time really regaining the map control that he once had. But he's going into super macro mode right now. I mean, this guy is going into 7 racks, 5 of them with reactors. So it looks like we're actually just going to see mass Marine Marauder. And in fact, as Sheth loves to see, a lot of Marines being queued up in these barracks.
Okay, so mass Marine coming out here, and medevac soon to be. You know, one of the things that's funny is that Ganzi got that orbital up long enough to really reap the benefits of it. And the trip back home is pretty easy. So, you know, he's going to be scanning a lot with that, as well as dropping those mules. As you can see here, the infestation pit is on the way here for the Zerg player. Also, I want to point out, Violet is doing a really, really great job pushing creep.
Yeah, he is. And I actually really like the way Violet's playing this. He's getting Infestor Tech. He's getting 2-2 before Ganzi. So he's going to have better upgrades and a bunch of Infestors against someone with 0 siege tanks. I mean, I don't even know where his factory is. I'm looking for it. It's just sitting there. No add-on or anything. He is making 12 Marines at a time. So he's basically going to be going mass Marine medevac with good upgrades, but the upgrades of Violet will always be as good or better. And I cannot tell you how badly he's going to be owned by Infestors. But the one thing he does have on his side is medevacs. He can do some drops, and of course, Infestors not as mobile as Mutas. It's kind of hard to deal with those drops. But if Violet deals with them well, I feel like he has a great advantage as far as tech.
All right, here come the Lynx coming here with the Banelings. Actually connect with the SCVs. He's running, but does manage to get away. Nice save there. I feel like that was a kind of a half-hearted attack there. I think it was going to be pretty easy for the Terran to kind of pull out of that. There is also the 4th command center being constructed here.
Now, Ganji's drop going around the map right now, Tasteless, is actually... It's going to be able to take out the expansion of Violet. I don't think he's going to be able to get his units up there quite quick enough if he unloads outside of vision range of the hatchery, which would be a smart move. And his drops are starting to go a little bit everywhere. But, again, the ground army should be crushed by Violet's ground army.
Okay, here come the medevacs now. Dropping on 2 fronts here. But the defensive Banelings are going to make this really almost impossible to get out. And it seems almost like Ganzi is actually a bit distracted here. Okay, now moving that a little drop over there. Let's see if he can get this in time. No, Ganzi has another force on the map over here. It looks like he accidentally picked up over there.
Well, he's going to have to get out of there, Tasteless. And I got to say, I'm so impressed with Violet here. He's playing, oh my God, that's a good fungal growth. And another beautiful one as well. He has 2-2, still only 1-1 for Ganji. It is about to finish, and look, that crushes that army. But I have to say that really Violet's playing so well, throwing a bunch of spines down, realizing what is the weakness of Infestor? It is drops, and mass spine crawlers can help out against that immensely.
Also, he's just set down his Ultralisk Den. As you can see, barely holding off that huge wave of Zerglings coming down. But can he keep this expansion safe over here? He's spilling inside. The SCV is running out.
And he is going to have to get out of there as he realizes. At the same time, we do have a drop going after that 4th base once again. Violet does not want to lose this base. Does he have enough units to hold this off? His Infestor's going up. It looks like he should. He's got to be careful, though. Doesn't want to lose Infestors here.
Dropping everywhere. Violet does not seem to be impacted by anything that Ganzi's trying to do. Violet has deflected pretty much every single blow since medevacs have been out here for our Terran player, Ganzi. Ganzi, I think, is probably going to have to eventually invest into getting a 4th base. He is going to be getting low on resources soon. Also note, look at the minerals here for Violet. He has a good amount of money. We just spent a bunch of it. But he can get some Ultralisks. Yes. And what are your thoughts, Artosis, on Ultralisks at this phase of the game?
Oh, it's going to be great, actually. You know, it's just some more beefy units added to his army. He's already kind of crushing face here. All he needs to do is keep up his good drop or anti-drop harassment, rather. And oh man, he's catching this drop off guard. And with all these Lings coming up, he might be able to do a lot there. But no, he's actually just turning around. That's interesting. With that many fungal growths,
yeah,
I feel like he could have actually engaged to this.
Well, you could get the Marines and the medevacs.
And now he's going to engage on the ramp. That's not what he wants to do. Realizes, uh-oh, that wasn't a good idea, and runs back.
Another counterattack over here at the bottom, but it's, oh my God, that was a really good fungal. All right, yeah, the Ultralisk is going to be what's going to decide this now. I really don't think the Zerg should be attacking at the ramp like that.
Yeah, it's really hard to break ramps with Terran units on them. In fact, losing a ton of Ultras here, and Ganji really making the game a bit more even with this draw.
Well, I mean, the truth of the matter is that the Terran could not reach the hatchery from there. If you just wait, force them out just a little bit, you're going to be in much better shape.
You know, really, when it was unloading, you should have just sent all his Lings up there, started surrounding everything, fungling it. I think it would have gone much better for him. But anyways, the pass is the pass. We have another drop going into the main base of Violet. Both players about to have 3-3 finish up. Really keeping toe-to-toe on those upgrades, but this drop dealing a huge amount of damage.
All right, I want to point out that Ganzi has done a very good job of not losing his medevacs. He has so many medevacs now, it's almost like every single Marine Marauder has its own personal medevac.
Well, he's going after this base. This base cannot be lost right now, Tasteless. Ganzi getting into better and better position with all this harassment. Violet, though, still in the game. Very close supplies right now, 151 to 146.
Note the, well, the fourth almost taken. There's a Zergling underneath the orbital. And also, please note that the creep tumors are for Violet, excuse me, are pretty well spread out. He wants to keep pushing that, but he's able to really defend his entire base with creep spread out that well.
Well, we have at the 22-minute mark, Baneling's speed finally being researched. More ultras on the way, and a couple Ghost Academies coming up. Now, 2 of them means that likely he's going to go for nukes. It could be that he wants to get cloaking and the Mobius reactor at the same time. But I expect kind of to see everything here.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. And the fact that he's making additional Ghost Academies now.
Definitely some nukes as well.
Yeah, it's definitely an indicator that we're going to have lots of nukes. This is like my favorite part of a TVZ, is when you get into the late game where the Terran just starts nuking everywhere. Now this drop, I think this will force a cancel.
Oh yeah, that one.
That's just too
I would say for sure is going to have to be canceled. You will be able to pick up and get out of there as well.
And the hatchery resumes.
Watch that medevac come back in a minute, force another cancel. Violet, you know, he's on the 4 bases, but Ganzi actually just took his 5th, which is obviously an issue if you're a Zerg player. A lot of nukes on the way. Oh, Ganzi. Well, we have a lot of Banelings being morphed. Violet has to get something done. He can't just sit back with this army and expect to beat a Terran that's going to take half the map.
You know, I really wonder if islands are going to come into play. I mean, they're mining up the map pretty quickly.
You know, I could see it happening, but this game in particular, I don't know for sure. It looks like Ganzi, I mean, he has more than enough to do with his APM. No way for him to really set that up efficiently right now. He's setting up some planetaries at choke points, because that's really good against this type of unit composition, and the nukes should begin pretty quickly here.
Okay, well, the ghosts are now out. He's probably going to start moving them out across the map to start landing those nukes. You want to make sure you nuke in as many different locations as possible. You never want the Zerg to become comfortable with you know, the location you're constantly trying to get. It's the element of surprise that's so scary.
That's right, and in both of the main bases in the bottom, Ganzi is actually throwing down command centers that look poised to take the islands. So that's actually really interesting. Of course, with medevacs, he can easily take the islands and defend them. So that's going to be very hard for Violet going forward. But here Violet goes. He's decided he's got to get something done here. And we'll have to see how this goes. That is a lot of Banelings just rolling down. And oh my god, the carnage here. A lot of ultras as well. Some good bungles. And Violet crushing through that army. This is what can happen when you don't have any siege tanks.
Yeah.
GG. Ganzi set up such a beautiful side of the map. He really kept Violet's bases down. But without any siege tanks, you can make 1 million Banelings, man. And everything just kind of went to hell in 2 seconds. Sheth, QXC, talk to me about that weird game.
It was a weird game. At the beginning of it, we saw the proxy T-Rex where the drone saw the SUV on the way there. And that was such a big move. Like, who scouts on 12? Violet does. And it worked out. It's a good thing to vary that scout timing, because then you can see stuff like that. And then when the proxy Rex was up, saving it and like hiding that amount of Marines until he had the towers, and then he was going to do that push with all those SUVs. I think from there, you could kind of tell it was a downhill or a tougher struggle at least, because he tried to get the 3rd command center, left himself open to some things. But from there, that was when the game really got crazy, right?
I mean, the real thing there, and I thought this was kind of the theme of the whole game, was Violet was always 1 step ahead of Ganzi. Violet scouts that 3rd command center and immediately switches into mass laying Baneling, and Ganzi, when you get your 3rd CC scouted, you got to start expecting something like that, especially when your opponent's on 2 bases still. I really would have wanted to see him wall in at his natural, wall in at his main, really limit the amount of damage he took. And then later into the game, Violet had the spine crawlers up, he had his army spread out. Those drops, which are usually so effective at shutting down Infestor play, just just didn't do a whole lot. Violet was really ready for it. And then when Violet saw that Ganzi was going for this very heavy bio medevac play, he knows that the main response is just a huge number of banelings. He's not going to be able to remax on that army because it's so gas intensive, but he didn't have to. He just took the win there.
Very, very well said. I think Ganzi felt almost too safe. I think he was like, well,
when
I
you're
can't
going
die.
like 4 nukes at once and you have half the map and you have turret rings and stuff like that, you're like, well, I guess I'm doing pretty good. I have my full upgrades and all that. You know, I've kept his bases lower than mine. But, I mean, if you're going only bio and he has not just a lot of banelings and ultras, but infestors to hold you still so you can't micro.
There's literally nothing that you can actually do.
It's pretty rough, man.
You get caught. And you could see he was so confident he was actually getting ready to take the islands.
Yeah.
He was making his planetary wall. He may have even wanted to make a few planetaries, and he's like just thinking, I'm gonna wait this out. I got nukes. It's gonna be hard to keep up. Guys, any final thoughts on those games or on that game? Excuse me.
I mean, I just would have liked to see Ganzi do a little bit better job scouting, because definitely that bio medevac play works until your opponent gets a lot of speed banelings, and at that point you just have to make some tanks. There's really not really a good response beside that.
And I want to see Violet do a little bit better scouting with his overlords on the edges.
I agree with you guys. Well, we're going to go ahead and start game number 3. We're going to see who gets second place in this group.
Yeah. So get ready for game number 3, Violet and Ganzi here at the MLG Spring Arena. So sick, guys. I knew Violet was good. I never expected him to be in top 3 in the group.
Yeah,
You
well,
know?
he's